Hi, doing an update on Starlink. I've had it installed for about 5 days now. The last video was the unboxing and setting up one. I am, in short, delighted with it. It's worked really well for me and it's given me, proper, and I know people may laugh at the speeds compared to some of the super fast, but it's given me fast internet, which really just makes it so much more convenient for being able to do the things I need to do. In short, what has changed since the last video? I'll just flip the camera over. Since the last video, I still have the router located exactly where it was in the unboxing video. I still have the satellite dish located just behind that wall out there. It will be put somewhere higher. What I have done is routed the cable into the house through a rather ugly, large drilled hole there. Why is that hole so large? Let me show you. Because the cable is a bit awkward. The left half of that cable is what goes into the router, and the right half is what's plugged into the bottom of the satellite dish. Now, it used to be that was hardwired. Now, in the latest version, you can pull that out very easily, and it is a better profile for being able to route through a hole into the house, because obviously you can tuck that cable in and it basically makes it straight. Now, it is larger. Obviously, the fixing is larger than the diameter of the cable. It would be great if that was a little bit lower profile, but it isn't, and it does mean that you have a slightly more cumbersome process, especially when I don't have all the right tools and drill bits. So it looks a bit ugly, but for someone who doesn't do DIY, I'm happy enough with that. Now, if I flip this back round, I'm going to just go in and show you a couple of speed tests. So the first thing I'm going to do is connect to my fiber connection, which is the Sky connection. I will run speed test app by Ookla. And we'll see that using my fiber connection, this isn't Starlink, this is my fiber, I'm getting about 11.5 megabytes download. That is pretty much rock solid at that 11.5 something. Upload will be 4.5 megabytes per second. And that's very reliable, which is usable, reliable broadband, except I can't stream 4K. If my kids are watching TV at each end of the house and streaming, then I'm fighting for bandwidth and it becomes a bit of a challenge. Now, if I exit out and connect to the Starlink network, which is called Sludge Beast, we will then do the same test, run speed test. And now it shows that it's connected to SpaceX Starlink, a higher ping, and the speed is pretty good around the 80. I did this about 10 minutes ago and it hopped up to 150. I've done it other times, it's been as low as 60. Generally, I'd say it hovers around 70 to 80 most of the time when I do the test. The upload speed, again, can drop anywhere between about 12 and, well, it's showing now at about 19. So I'm very happy with those speeds. If I go into the Starlink app, you'll see that I can go to statistics and outages in the top right corner. I've had no outages of any note that have affected me using the internet. Now, it's showing that there's been no outages in the last 12 hours of more than 2 seconds. What about 0.1 second? Actually, quite a lot. It seems to have had no signal at various points. Also, it's been obstructed at 6 this morning. I haven't got a clue if that's birds or the chickens that we've got or the dog wandering past. It'll be interesting when I relocate the dish to a slightly higher position, whether they disappear or whether it doesn't make any difference at all. But nothing there has impacted my usage, so I'm not concerned if it's going to keep having like little minimal dropouts. Latency is in there at around 28 milliseconds. And one thing that I didn't show before was range tests. You can actually go range. Let me just see if I can connect to the router itself rather than my wireless extenders. I'll explain this very shortly. All right, we're back on Sludge Beast. If I go to Starlink again, hopefully this time if I go range, yeah, it works. It's because to do the range test, I need to be connected to the Starlink router itself and not the wireless extenders. Now, the Starlink router doesn't have an Ethernet port. I have ordered one from Starlink. It's £35. It'll arrive today. And that would enable me to use that Ethernet port to plug it into, say, a power line adapter and then share the network throughout the house using those. Because it didn't have one, and because I was impatient waiting for the adapter to arrive, I decided to buy some wireless extenders and see how they work. Now, this range test is pretty cool. You can wander around your house and it will draw a map showing where signal gets to. Now, already it said disconnected from the router. That's because I'm now on the wireless extender instead rather than the router. But we'll see at this far end of the house, it's going red. It's showing that I've lost signal. But let me just do a quick test. Let me just see if I'm still on Sludge Beast. I am. Let me do speed test. And even though it's red, I am happy enough with those speeds. It's much more than I was getting with fibre, and it's plenty usable for my needs. So I'm not going to worry about the fact that that's gone red or even black. If I come back in here, because I'm no longer on the actual router, it seems to be saying that I've lost the connection when in reality I haven't. But the point I was going to make, there we go, it's gone green again. The point I'm going to make is that I've actually managed to get a reliable, consistent signal in all locations of the house and the golf sim, which is what I wanted. The way I've done it, in the absence of an Ethernet port, is to use wireless extenders. This is the TP-Link AC 1900. And I've got one here. I have one at the far end down there in that room, right in the far corner. And then I have one outside in the barn, on the inside door of the barn where the golf sim is. And it ensures that in the whole location, in every location within the house, I am able to get a good, reliable, fast broadband connection using Starlink. So all in all, I'm absolutely delighted with it. It's done exactly what I needed it to do. I couldn't really be happier. And I saw a couple of the comments on the previous YouTube video. One guy saying, apart from, unless you've got no other options, it sucks. That may be true, but I don't really have any other options, and I think it's great. So yes, I'd rather have a super fast fibre connection to the door and be able to use that. Or it would probably be cheaper if I had really good 4G, 5G coverage and could use personal hotspots and maybe a 4G router, though I've always found that to be very reliable and unreliable, needing to reboot it all the time, whereas I haven't had to reboot Starlink at all. Yeah, so that is the update. I'll continue to provide updates as I go along, and when I route the cable and resettle the dish, I will do a video on that, and I'll also show what the Ethernet adapter looks like when it arrives later today. But thank you for watching, and stay tuned if you want any further updates. Thank you.